All right, here we go. What's up, folks? Appreciate y'all joining me. What's up, Italo? How you doing, buddy? So, yeah, got some court filings to go over. Got to be honest though, when I got these, a little bit of disappointment, a little bit, just a little bit, because this was something that really struck out when I was looking through to getting these court documents. There was what's up, Gigi? How you doing, buddy? Um, there was a filing that really stuck out to me, and it was Jisu's declaration, which was 190 pages. So I was just like, what the hell? Like, what would you need? Like, why would this filing need to be 190 pages, right? I had to know. So me and Aura, we put our money together. And hey, what's up, Devin? What's up, Mr. Lambo? We put our money together and we decided to go half and half on these filings to see what it was that would require 190 pages. So we're going to go over it. The most important stuff, really, I will say right now, just the very beginning here, is really towards the beginning and towards the end, because the stuff towards the end really is stuff that I actually hadn't seen before. And the beginning part of this filing is kind of what you would expect if you've been following this whole ZeRo versus Jisu thing, especially how she kind of puts herself out there as this like this hero, this person who is just trying to use her platform to help the less fortunate, right? To help people that have been abused in some capacity, or at least the way that's the way she would put it, right? So we're going to go over this. I'm going to wait because I am going to be joined by, I believe, the franchise should be joining me, as well as Aura should be joining. But I guess just some preliminary notes, a little bit of preliminary housekeeping, as it were. So we all know that late last year, around November, ZeRo filed this defamation case. And we're just going to summarize a little bit here. As you all know, Jisu announced that she was going to that she was being sued by ZeRo, and still continued to defame him after after pretty much the lawsuit being filed. Pretty obvious that she did not get an attorney. Because she continued to defame him after the fact, which absolutely will be used against her. Now, Jisu did try to file an anti-slap, which was not granted, which I said in the last stream where we talked about this, that was probably her best bet, was to get her anti-slap motion granted. But that is not happening. So now it appears that things will be moving either towards a trial potentially, or there could be mediation beforehand. Judge could order mediation, or maybe she might want to settle things beforehand. But as we saw in the last stream, I showed you her GoFundMe. She's only raised about a little over $12,000. Now that's not going to be nowhere near enough for her to battle this out in court. If it makes it that far, if it goes as far as court, if she decides not to have some kind of settlement with ZeRo beforehand, some kind of mediation beforehand, that's not going to be enough to battle this out in court. I mean, unless her attorneys want to do a pro bono or something like that, I don't know, or there's some other means, but it's just not going to be enough. Either that, or she's going to have to dip into her own pockets, right? So that's where that's kind of at right now. It's not looking too good for her right now. And there has been an amended filing from ZeRo that happened after her motion was not granted. So I don't know what that filing says, but I'm going to see if I can get a hold of that at some point as well. There's also been declarations by other people. Now, of course, I mentioned that on the last stream as well. There was people that, one of the people that you would expect would obviously file a declaration on Jisu's behalf would be Leffen, and he did. Going to try to get a hold of that declaration as well. But this one here is Jisu's declaration. And again, it has some stuff in it that you would expect from her if you've been following this whole situation from the beginning. So, but before we go into that, let me go and bring this up again. Let me see. I'm trying to find the article that we had gone over a couple days back for those of you that had missed that, because it's something that Technicals had shared on Twitter, and it was quite amusing. But she basically talked about in one of the excerpts, and that excerpt is from this filing. She had mentioned the fact that the abuse accusations, right, against ZeRo in regards to Vanessa, on top of her being, that supposedly Vanessa was, was 15 when ZeRo was 20, which we all know that turned out to be a lie. But in regards to that, she had basically said that, that's not a lie that I said. It's just something that I had heard about and I repeated essentially. And it's just like, that doesn't, that doesn't save you from any kind of, doesn't save you from any kind of lawsuit. You know what I mean? You perpetuating a lie doesn't mean that you can't also be on the hook to get sued. Doesn't matter that you didn't make it up or not. But I guess Jisu didn't get the memo on that. But I'm trying to find it here, though, so we can go over it. But I guess I'll look for it later. But we'll just get into it here. We'll just get into this shit. Fuck it. Here we go. So this is the beginning, right? Declaration of Jacqueline Cho, who is Jisu. Her name is publicly known, so I'm not, it's not a dox or anything like that, because her name is out there already, as we know. I, Jacqueline Cho, declare and state as follows. I am an artist by profession, over 18 years of age, and the defendant in the above entitled action. I make this declaration in support of defendant Jacqueline Cho's special motion to strike plaintiff Gonzalo Barrios' complaint. I make this declaration based on my personal knowledge of the facts set forth herein. And if called upon to testify thereto, I could and would competently do so under oath. So when I was only 15 years old, I was essentially trafficked out of my house to live in California by Jesse Warner, a man who was 25 years old at the time and an ex-professional in the Super Smash Bros. Gaming community. Warner invited me to leave my parents and my home to create a video game with him. At the time, the whole idea seemed so glamorous, and I perceived him as some sort of rock star savior because of his celebrity in the Super Smash Bros. Community. Now, that is Vidyo, who she's referring to. Okay? She's referring to Vidyo. Warner and I eventually created Jisu Art, a small business that created art and sold that art on various merchandise, including t-shirts. Jisu Art also did freelance work and took commissions. Jisu is my Korean name and the name I have used throughout my professional career as an artist, because I was only 17 when we started Jisu Art. My name was not on any legal documentation, but Warner kept promising me that I would formally be on the paperwork once I turned 18, but that never happened. So already we see that this declaration, I mean, this honestly, I mean, she's, to me, this is an attempt on Jisu's part to kind of already start, I guess you could say, sympathy baiting a little bit here by telling her story with Vidyo before getting into the ZeRo stuff. That's the way at least it comes across to me. So, and I guess in her mind, it's relevant because of, Sky House and all that. So, I mean, and I guess in a sense it would be, right? So I lived with Warner for 4 years. During this time, Warner and I were also engaged in a sexual relationship. He was extremely controlling and took over every facet of my life. He demanded access to my online passwords and kept me from socializing with others. For example, he would say things like, Jackie, you can't hang out with those people. Remember, they said those things about me. They're bad people. You can't trust them. If you hang out with them, I have no choice but to move you back home. He controlled the income from Jisu Art and also abused me in other ways, both verbally and through physical intimidation. He would scare me by throwing scissors at the wall or holding them threateningly while berating me. He took sexually explicit photos and attempted to blackmail me. He trained me to deny everything, even though much of it was obvious to the people around me. And I complied because I was afraid of being reprimanded by Warner. I was afraid of losing my artwork, and I was afraid of going back home. This was the situation I was in when I first met ZeRo, otherwise known as Gonzalo Barrios, the plaintiff in this action. Now, keep in mind what she said up here, right? Because I think this is something that is interesting, right? She's basically saying that Vigio would control her by saying, hey, by talking bad about those people, right? They're bad people. You can't trust them. You can't hang out with them. If you do, I'm going to have to take you back home, all this stuff. But you'll see what's interesting about some of the stuff she says later on in this declaration in regards to said people, right? So she says, I met ZeRo while living at a place called the Sky House in Los Angeles with Warner, ZeRo, and other prominent members of the gaming community. When I first moved in, almost all the people living in the Sky House were some of the top Smash players in the world, and ZeRo was no exception. At the time, ZeRo was considered one of the best Smash players in the world. I lived at Sky House in 2014 through 2015. Sky Williams, a gaming YouTuber, opened the Sky House to other members of the gaming community, such as professional Super Smash Brothers players. I was 15 or 16 when I moved into the Sky House. Now, remember, so she put this right in the declaration where publicly she has stated pretty much on more than one occasion that I'm aware that she was 15 when she was actually like 16 when she moved in there. So now she's putting I was 15 or 16, right? Where publicly she has already said, I'm pretty sure on more than one occasion that she was like 15 when she moved into Sky House, and people were like, no, she was actually 16. And now this filing that we have here, she's saying 15 or 16. So, not any big deal, but like I said, just to show that now she's kind of amending things a little bit. When I was living at Sky House, at times up to 20 or more people lived there, crammed into the house. Warner continued to sexually abuse and control me throughout this time, and other members of the Sky House did not intervene. Instead, they would call me names like jailbait and underage pussy, quote unquote, highlighting that they knew what was going on. So this is interesting, right? So, she's saying that Vigio would tell her that these were, we got Aura and the franchise joining. What's up, boys?
What's going on?
We live?
What's going on?
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
All right.
Live. What's going on, buddy?
So what have I missed?
Not much. I mean, I can start over. I'm not really that far in.
I mean,
well,
you
isn't
don't
the third page.
have to. Like when I joined, you were just detailing like the video stuff.
Yeah.
So,
what I'm saying, what I think is interesting here, right, already is she talks about how Vigio would tell her how they were bad people to control her. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then down here, she's like, she kind of confirms something Vigio is saying is, I guess, being true, right? Because, she's saying that people in the house would call her names like jailbait and underage pussy.
Yeah.
It's weird because this sounds like a Twitter response. This sounds like it's being treated as like, that Google Doc. It doesn't. Yeah. I don't know. This is like a serious kind of a answer right here, and it's just like it has a lot of fluff. Like you're being sued by like ZeRo. You should probably answer that and not like
This feels like
I'm not
I'm not gonna say like any of the video stuff is false. I completely believe her like video story. It's not necessary. It's not like relevant.
Yeah.
It's not what your lawsuit is about.
Yeah. You should be responding to what ZeRo's saying.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I believe that she's putting it in here basically to kind of, just to pull the sympathy, right? I was like, oh, look at all this stuff that happened to me where I was living. I mean, I guess for her and probably why her lawyers let her put it in here is because this happened at the Sky House, and I guess it's relevant in that sense, but it's really more the way she's telling it, right? The way she's telling the story here is more, I feel like, to sympathy bait a little bit, you know what I mean? Be like, oh, look at all this shit that I went through beforehand with this guy and then ZeRo, So
Yeah, because it builds up to ZeRo. This is like
Exactly.
all build up. So.
yeah, that's what I feel it is. She's just doing it really just to build up, and it's really, I mean, the stuff that she's talking about, at least in regards to Vigio, is, I mean, objectively worse, right? Because she's talking about having a relationship with him where he was, you know, manipulating her and stuff like that. Which again, you know, we've never heard his side of anything because he disappeared. So who knows? I mean, and again, but you know, we'll give her let's give her this one, right? The benefit of the doubt that at least on that she's telling the truth, which it's kind of hard considering all the stuff that she has been inconsistent about and, you know, lied about before. But for now, I guess we'll give her that, right? So let me see.
I'm kind of surprised that the Sky House stuff was put in here, considering, you know, considering how that turned out. Whatever.
It's just like it's not relevant at all.
Yeah.
So here she has, highlighting that they knew what was going on, right? So saying that basically, you know, people would talk shit to her, but they knew what was happening with her. They also called me racist terms such as ching chong, ZeRo in particular.
What?
I mean, didn't she also use those racist terms? Apparently, some of the roommates said she used the N-word.
There you go.
So I wouldn't So like, I don't really care.
No, exactly. I mean, this is if this was like the culture in the house, right, where everybody was being like edgy and stuff like that, then really, you know, one good turn, right?
Yeah,
so,
pretty much.
It's like if you're sitting there, if there's like, you know, black people in the house and you're calling them the N-word and they're just saying like just equally like offensive stuff back to you, I mean, it is what it is. I guess.
No, yeah, for real.
But even then, it's just like you got a whole bunch of people that are ranging in ages there, right? You know, from teenage ages to 20s, I guess.
20s.
Yeah, they're kids. They're kids, you know, like for the most part, or at least kid in mind or whatever. But like, still,
Immature.
like, what does this, you know, what does this have to do? You know, like, why is this being put in there? They call me racist stuff. I'm like, that's cool, I guess. Like, no one was asking you about that. Just letting you know.
She's letting you know all the bullshit she had to deal with, right? On top of the fact that she had to deal with abuse, she also had to deal with racism.
Yeah,
apparently. So,
and also dishing it out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it says
let's talk about that.
Yeah, ZeRo in particular participated in calling me such names, and on occasion would call me over to his computer and show me hentai, anime porn, and ads for sex workers that he found on Craigslist. For example, I would be working on my art and ZeRo would say, Jackie, look, and I would turn over and he would be watching explicit footage of sex workers or hentai with the audio on. And when I turned away, he would laugh maniacally. This happened repeatedly. He would also ask me for my opinions on the women he was watching. I felt disgusted and uncomfortable, but I was powerless to stop him.
Jesus Christ, dude. Whatever. She put this in whatever. Just fucking court, dude. It's in Twitter.
It's just so.
I find it funny because in ZeRo's suit, it said that this was impossible because of like it's not like the Craigslist stuff, and she's still running with it.
Yeah, well, she tries to look at what
she just
here.
Does she ever like address that later on?
Well, she does here. She does here in the next part. Thank you, Gigi, for the 5. Appreciate it, buddy. She makes it sound like she was brought over to the Sky House via shipping container. I mean, trafficked. Really? Yeah,
that's basically what happened.
Oh man,
because it's not like Vigio's her legal guardian, so
yeah. So she says, and obviously I've been using the word trafficking makes it sound that much worse. You know what I mean? It's just a way to make it sound worse too. So
he basically he groomed a minor.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't really care what term you use. It's reprehensible.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I don't know. I could see me getting to that part and be like, wait, what? Like, it sounds like a totally separate thing, you know? It's like, who did this? Like, they're going to be like, was it Barrios? Was it ZeRo? And like, no. Oh, okay. Just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so check this out. So it says ZeRo now claims I couldn't have shown him Craigslist ads of sex workers because the adult services section of Craigslist was removed before we lived together. Craigslist continued to have a personal section where sex workers posted advertisements until the personal sections was shut down in or around 2018 when Congress passed the Allow States and Victims to Fight Online Sex Trafficking Act bill. I know this because ZeRo intentionally showed me these explicit ads on Craigslist while I was living at the Sky House. See, but here's the thing. From my understanding, there wasn't any more illicit ads before that. right? Regardless
Yeah.
of what she's saying here, she was saying that it didn't happen until 2018. But I'm fairly, and I could be wrong. I'm fairly certain though it happened before then.
I thought it did. I'm almost positive it did. Yeah.
They might have passed this, but I think Craigslist already had policy against it.
Like at 2016, I think. I mean,
to not have anything that was that illicit. I mean, not that the personals were down, but I think anything like sexually explicit, though, I think was already taken off of the site way before than what she's claiming here. Could be wrong, but that was my understanding.
Yeah.
So it says, look at this, listen to this shit. Eventually, I escaped the situation with Werner when I was 19. I stumbled upon a statement by Alice Glass, a Canadian singer. Now, this is interesting. A Canadian singer and songwriter who was a member of the band Crystal Castles. In her statement, Glass described how Ethan Kath, a co-founder of Crystal Castles, sexually, physically, and mentally abused her starting when she was 15. The statement described how Kath controlled everything Glass did, preventing her from her own phone or credit card, choosing her friends, reading her emails, regulating what she ate. Glass described how he threw her around, forced her to have sex with him, or else face being kicked out of the band, and locked her into rooms. When I read this statement, it felt like I was reading a memoir of the past 4 years of my life. That's when I realized I had to take action. Leaving was incredibly hard. He threatened me, took my stuff. The police were involved, and I was not able to gain control of Jisu Art and had to abandon the business and much of my life's work until the point in order to escape. I now work under the brand name Jisu instead of Jisu Art. In January 2018, I shared my experience with Werner on WordPress. The post is available at the following link where she first did her Me Too thing on her blog or whatever. A true and correct copy of the post is attached in this declaration as Exhibit A.
Why is that evidence?
That's what I mean, right? This is what I mean. See, and this is the crazy thing about this, and I already kind of gave a little bit of a spoiler alert for people that are watching. This whole declaration is a lot of fluff, and you're going to see why. And some of it is absolutely ludicrous.
Literally, her whole the whole Sky House allegation or whatever was literally it was struck down because of statute of limitations. Why wasn't that the defense for this?
Yeah,
instead of this long, massive 80-page document detailing how a completely unrelated party groomed her for years.
Yep. Well, that's the other thing too. She mentions that, right? And again, this would be another situation that would also be past statute of limitations. Although I think laws might have changed recently in California, but I think by the time this had already gone down, it wouldn't have gone through, right? If she decided to take any kind of legal action now against even video, I don't think that it would necessarily go anywhere, but could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know if laws have changed in California to retroactively go back and do anything about it. But she also said this, right? On January 9th, 2020, I announced that I would be taking a social media hiatus, in part due to the trauma I have experienced from my abusive relationships and during childhood. The post can be read at, and then she links another blog post. A true copy of the post is attached to this declaration as Exhibit B. While I took a step back from social media, I would still passively log in from time to time, and I saw that the hashtag #MeToo movement, and this is the part you're going to like, Aura, was finally taking hold in the gaming community. Many members of the Smash Bros. Community were finally coming forward with their stories, including notable players. And as one of the first people before the hashtag #MeToo movement to have started, I felt responsibility to help share everyone's stories who didn't have a platform. Okay, so to me,
that's
I don't know, right?
That's all insane,
right? This reads to me like, I wanted to be included too, because I kind of missed the boat when people were talking about it the first time because I was a little bit too early with my story. So I wanted to be a part of it after the fact. That's how it reads to me.
Pretty
she
much.
felt like she missed the boat the first time around. So she's like, oh, now's my chance.
Probably. Yeah. This whole thing reads weird. How is saying that the meat, I don't know, dude. I don't know how the fuck they thought that was a good answer.
Well, here's the thing, right? Towards the end of 2017 is when Me Too, I believe mid or towards the end of 2017 is when Me Too really started to kind of take hold with stuff, right? And then, I think at its peak really was around I want to say maybe around either early or summer of 2018 is when it was really peaked out, where everybody was telling stories and stuff like that. So I guess she was early, right? Because she says January 2018 is when she shared the first thing with video, right? And it's like, then 2020 comes around and she's like, oh, now I'm going to come back around and I'm going to tell stories for people who didn't have a platform. All of a sudden now it's just like, oh, now I want to come back and I don't want to tell my story. I want to tell other people's stories and use my platform for it.
Yeah, and I'll tell your story and your story.
And yeah, like Oprah and shit, right? Giving away cars. I'll tell your story and your story and your story. Everybody's story is going to be told.
Ooh, never mind. We'll get there later.
Okay, so it says around June and July of 2020, the press reported allegations made by victims of SA harassment and discrimination in the gaming industry. In response, several prominent gaming streamers were banned from the streaming platform Twitch. Issues of sexual misconduct in the gaming industry were not new, but the renewed press attention, the sheer number of victims speaking out, and actual consequences for those accused felt new to me and prompted me to return to further discuss my experience with Warner and other members of the gaming community. So essentially, for me, again, look, it seems like she's motivated by the fact like, oh, people going to get messed up now. All right, let's go.
Pretty much. I was going to phrase it differently. I was like, oh, people are getting canceled. Now's my chance. That's the way I see it.
That's the way it comes across. It's like, oh, you mean people are going to get fucked over for real this time? All right, let's go.
Yeah, for real. All right, like, I had this in the cupboard for safekeeping. Here's this doc. There you go. Whatever.
In case of emergency, break glass.
Break glass, read doc. Yeah, for real. Read doc, break glass. Like, there you go.
This is let me see. So she says here, oh, check this out. The post in particular that prompted me to come back were from Puppy and Captain Zach.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
On July 2nd, 2020, I posted another statement on Twitter further discussing Warner's abuse. The statement can be read at, and then she posts the tweet link. A true and correct copy of the statement is attached here too as Exhibit C. In response to accusations made against ZeRo's friends and other members of the Sky House, ZeRo posted saying that a reform in the Smash Bros. Community needs to happen and that minors need to be protected at all future events, which made me feel disgusted and repulsed given what I experienced at his hands when I was a minor living in the Sky House. This tweet has since been deleted. Though it has been referenced in several news articles, I could not believe that he was trying to take the moral high ground when I know he exhibited the same behaviors. The sheer hypocrisy he exhibited while simultaneously receiving praise for his statements professing ignorance of misconduct in the community was enough for me to come forward to discuss my own experience with him when I was a minor. It was a time for justice and accountability. So here comes the virtue signaling, okay? And he exhibited none of that. And I felt that staying silent would allow him to pretend that he had never engaged in misconduct and would endanger other minors who looked up to him. In response to his tweet, I posted, "This has taken me tremendous deliberation, but I'm sorry, ZeRo. You were showing me explicit Craigslist ads of sex workers and hentai on the big screen and constantly harassing me at the Sky House when I was 15. I was so afraid to come forward and post that tweet. This man had an exponentially larger following and platform than I did, and I knew it would be hard for me to prove my claims despite being afraid to come forward. I consulted with my friends, and it came down to whether I believed it would be the right thing to do. In the end, I decided it was and truly put my heart on the line, standing up for what I believed in." I knew it would cause absolute chaos, and it did. My social media feed has never been more destructive and awful towards me. I would receive multiple death threats and people calling me all sorts of horrible, hateful things. It hurt just to go through that, but to go through that while everyone knew what I've been through already, that was a new level of hurt. Now, I think she provides like examples of what she's talking about later on, like tweets and stuff. But at least that I saw, and maybe it's possible that I could have missed it. I think there's maybe some people that say KYS to her, but that's not a death threat. You know, people always think that when people tell other people, KYS, you know what I mean? That's not a death threat. It's not
Well, you
considered
could
a
block
death threat
them.
either.
You could block them. There's
Yes.
features for shit like that. You can report them. You can block them. Like, it's not like they tell you that and you're like, oh well, I'll take this into consideration. You know, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, but it's never considered in legal filings. They don't consider that a death threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not considered one.
Yeah.
So thank you, Devin, for the 10. I hope all this gibberish she's adding in will be challenged and proof made to be given. Well, what's interesting is in the filings that me and Aura were looking through, it looks like she had actually tried to file motions to strike certain evidence being submitted by ZeRo, I believe, but I'll have to look through and see what those are when we get a chance to get into more documents and stuff to see what exactly it is that she was trying to strike. But so it goes on here and it says, in response to my post, ZeRo posted a statement in which he claimed most of his interactions with me were exchanging random jokes and posting various screenshots to demonstrate that we were friendly. He then claimed that he had no recollection of showing me any explicit sex worker ads or hentai, though he admitted to watching hentai, but that he would not look at it in a room full of roommates, and perhaps I, quote unquote, accidentally saw it on his screen. The screen he used was a giant flat screen TV in the middle of the room where you can't avoid looking at it. However, go ahead.
And yet
Frank.
none of the other roommates saw this.
Yeah.
On the big screen TV that you can't avoid, yet no one can corroborate his story.
Yes. At least nobody has corroborated it so far that lived there apparently around that time. And I think wasn't it Technicals that talked to like 4 people that lived there around that time? They said, I don't recall that ever happening.
Yeah, Orion was one of them.
Yeah. So yeah, and you would think exactly this would be the opportune time for anybody that was living there around that time, especially if they're friendly with her in any capacity, to come forward and say, yeah, what she's saying is true. I was there, I saw it, whatever, but nothing.
Yeah.
So it says, however, he would call me over by name when he wanted to show me explicit content, so it was not accidental. As of the date of this declaration, this statement remains online at, and I guess she links, I think it's linked down here. A true correct copy of ZeRo's response statement is attached here too as Exhibit L. The online hate directed at me continued until I was able to post a lengthy full Google Doc with even more detail and evidence of ZeRo's wrongdoing. I had to tell myself every day that it was going to be okay. I had my good friend witnessing my sobbing and suffering every day.
Dude, it was people being mean on the internet.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, because I got to go in a couple of minutes, but I just wanted to point this shit out. I'm like, there's a reason people take shit to court of public opinion, because public opinion would eat this shit up. Like, this is like a legal court. You got to prove all the shit you're saying. I mean, and even so, internet harassment, they're going to say, just block the shit, because you don't need Twitter to fucking live. You know what I mean? Like, you can they'll be like, just uninstall the app and you won't get any more hate. Yeah.
Well, correct me.
So
well,
this
correct
is
me
nothing.
if I'm wrong.
This is like court of public opinion shit.
Yeah, well, correct me if I'm wrong. I've seen her clap
go
back at other people plenty of times. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, so why is she acting like all of a sudden people saying mean shit on Twitter bothers her when I've seen her say, I've seen like tweets of hers where you could look at them and one could say that's equally as mean.
Like, I'm pretty sure there's a tweet like in response to one of Hax's videos where she just straight up said school shooter vibes.
Yeah.
So it's just like she's acting like, all right, she dishes it out, but she can't take it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's how it is. That's how the internet works, especially with people like, I'm getting harassed, like everyone gets harassed. They don't know when to stop responding, but everyone just gets harassed, So like, I don't know. That's how everything reads to me right now. This is all like court of public opinion shit.
Yeah. Oh, check this out. Check out what she says here. Or before you, I had to hide it all from the internet and just endure the hatred.
Yeah.
I knew I was putting my career on the line.
The funny thing is, like, a week or two after all this happened, she did a live stream. Everybody else looked like dead serious, and she was just all smiles and rainbows, like at the beginning. And I'm like, everyone else is taking this seriously, and you're like grinning from like ear to ear.
Well, I mean, I've seen like I said, I've seen tweets of her where she basically has, you know, she basically has the big dick energy, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and talks a shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I guess that's some kind of defense mechanism. I guess you would argue, right?
Yeah.
So, she said, I was putting my career on the line and was willing to. I had to hide it all from the internet and just endure the hatred. I knew I was putting my career on the line and was willing to stand up for what I believed in.
I don't think
For
you're
what
really,
was right.
how. I don't really get how she's putting her career on the line.
No, not at all. I mean,
I don't get that.
She says, luckily, I had good friends, including Leffen.
Those aren't their legal names. Why? This is.
That's what I'm saying. She's treating it like Twitter. Like
This is a
crazy.
twit longer.
Yes.
This is a
yes.
190-page long twit longer.
Yeah. Oh, wait till you see like what her the way her attorneys filed this. We'll get to it because I mean we won't go, like I said, too long, because honestly, even though it's 190 pages, there's a reason why there's not really a whole lot, and that's because for whatever reason, and I don't know if this was intentional or accidental, or maybe there's something different, or maybe it's an updated version of the Google Doc as opposed to an old one, but it appears, at least for me looking at it initially, that it looks like her attorneys, either her or her attorneys, put the Google Doc twice.
They linked it twice.
Yeah, they put it in here twice, and that's what makes the document size go up to like 120 plus pages alone, just because of that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I don't know if that was a mistake or if there's something in, if there's an older version of the doc as well as the new doc, a newer version of the doc being filed. I don't know if
bro, imagine having to read this twice.
Yeah.
Well, something that we've already read, you know what I mean? We've already read this. This is public shit.
But I just want to get to the defense stuff. I want to see what her the stuff that actually matters.
Oh, you do, right?
God, it probably doesn't exist, does it?
Not in this so far. Not what I'm seeing so far, and that's probably we'll have to. I'm trying to get a hold of the transcripts of the hearings to see what it was that the judges and the attorneys said in regards to all of this shit. So hopefully I'll have those soon or relatively soon. But it says, luckily I had good friends, including Leffen and IBDW, who stood up for me when but the level of hatred I've received and continue to receive to this day is something none of us have ever witnessed before or could have predicted.
You're welcome.
I knew it would be hard. Oh, go ahead.
No, nothing. Keep going.
I knew it would be hard, but I didn't know how relentless and unending the hatred would be. Nor could I predict that I would be sued for defamation by ZeRo. How the fuck could you not with all the shit that you said?
Bro, how are you starting with the sued for if you're gonna give like a detailed like background of what happened, why are you putting the sued by defamation part here? Like, if you're going to give all the background, give all the context to all the claims you've made, then say you're getting sued.
Yeah, she won't.
She's not even writing the fluff correctly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she goes after I. Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was just saying it just doesn't make sense to just leave it at this and not like address any of the actual claims yet, and then say, "Oh, I can't believe he's suing me for defamation."
Yeah.
Oh my god! With the defamatory fucking document in there, whatever. Just keep going.
I mean, shit. You only called him a pedophile. I mean, nothing defamatory there, right?
Nothing wrong.
Yeah.
It's just a flesh wound.
Yep.
I can't believe her attorneys let her send whatever. It doesn't matter. None of this matters.
Yeah, it really does.
Oh, I called you a pedophile. I'll just put some ice on it. Oh, you're sending it to AYS.
Walk it off.
Oh,
walk it off.
Yeah.
Walk it off, ZeRo.
Yeah, walk it off, ZeRo. Come on, man. Block. Fucking crazy, dude. She said the dude's girlfriend was like 15 when he was 20. Like, what do you?
That's mentioned in this. So
yes, it's insane that she put that in there.
So she goes, after I posted about ZeRo on Twitter, I was contacted by someone who asked me to direct message them because they wanted to share their story with me. I immediately messaged them and they told me they had been holding on to their experience for years, but never had the courage to speak out until they saw my tweet calling ZeRo out for his behavior towards me when I was a minor. She very clearly just needed someone to talk to about this. She told me I was the first person she's ever told besides her close friends. Her family didn't even know. She was pouring her heart out to me, and I did my best to console her. As she was detailing her story, it became very obvious to me that she wanted to be able to share it. And so I asked her if she wanted me to share it on her behalf. She agreed, and we started working on her statement together.
Oh my, that's so bad. That's so fucking bad. Whatever.
Bro.
Yeah, that doesn't look conspiratorial at all.
If there's anything false in that statement, you're done.
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
But right, that doesn't seem conspiratorial at all. We started working on it together.
That's what I'm saying. You're not supposed to say that you help them like craft a narrative in court for defamation, like whatever, dude. And they
unless it's true, like
you're
done.
Yeah. Oh my god.
GG Evans for the 5. Thank you, buddy. 190-page legal doc with all this nonsense. Who's her lawyer? Better call Saul.
Oh my god, I can see it too.
All right, let me go out here. Let me see. So this is okay. As she was detailing her story, it became very obvious to me that she wanted to be able to share it. And so I asked her if she wanted me to share it on her behalf. Okay, we already got that. Okay. After our messages on July 3rd, 2020, Katie posted a statement titled, "Dear ZeRo Wondering, all I wanted was an apology regarding her interactions with ZeRo when she was 14 years old." In the statement, Katie described how she had conversations with ZeRo over Skype, a voice over internet protocol service used for voice and video calls, from September 2014 to January 2015. While she was 14 years old, she explained that she met ZeRo after watching him stream on Twitch. She felt starstruck because ZeRo was a top player and trusted him because he wasn't just an internet stranger, but someone who was famous in the gaming community. Katie explained that ZeRo used her hero worship to flirt, manipulate, and ask for sexual favors from me. That post is available at, and then she links Katie's tweet longer. A true and correct copy of the statement Katie posted about ZeRo is attached here to as Exhibit D. In response, Katie, go ahead.
I can't do this shit. Guys. I'm like, do you guys not see like that she's basically admitting to defamation because they're gonna want to know if like Katie can back all this shit up since she's like telling somebody else's story. So she's basically admitting to fucking like just spreading gossip that she doesn't really know if it's true or not. That it's everyone else, that's just telling her.
Yeah,
that's like you're admitting to not even know.
And Katie's anonymous, so like, how does that even work?
Exactly. Yeah. So like that's what I'm saying. I'm like, she's basically just saying, "Hey, I'm just listening to people and just saying it out loud." I'm like, that's fucking defamation. That's what fucking
the messenger.
Yeah, what is it? Natasha K, I think her name is. She got sued by Cardi B.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she got sued by Cardi B and she lost. And now she owes Cardi B $4 million because she knew something was wrong, or she's like just went with gossip and like spreaded it.
Well, I don't know, man. Yeah, she perpetuated the gossip that some lady, she had the lady on that was essentially lying, and then she perpetuated it on her channel. She's and essentially, she tries to say, it's free speech. She's like, yeah, but you perpetuated the lie. It's not like, and there's instances where I don't believe she even said allegedly, and then she straight up said that I think this girl's telling the truth and blah blah blah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think this shit is stupid. I gotta go. You gentlemen take care.
All right,
but like, I don't know. Fuck all this dumb shit. Like, I can't believe this was like submitted. I can't believe the lawyers are like, this is a good fucking idea. I can't believe
this is a great declaration. This is great.
Yeah, this is a twit longer.
Yeah, y'all take care. Yeah.
All right, bro. We'll talk later. In response, Katie received a lot of community hate as well as community support. People were scrutinizing the fact that it was an anonymous account, accusing her of being fake, accusing her of being me on an alternate account, and arguing that all screenshots were fabricated. Could you imagine if that were true?
Could you
If she like was talking to herself?
That would have been insane, dude.
Oh man. ZeRo's fans began questioning her account, saying things like, "Man, I'm sus of all this, to be honest, and seems shady as hell. It doesn't help that Jisu retweeted it frame one, and I can't say I buy this because of your account. Sorry." Eventually, a friend of Katie came forward to say that she's a real person. I don't know who she's referring to here. I'm thinking I don't know if it's that. Did you see that one guy that came forward and that was saying like, "Oh, I'm friends with Katie, and Katie's a real person," but like didn't provide any kind of like evidence outside of like some old Skype like screenshots of DMs. Did you see? Did
I
you see
feel like
that?
I feel like I've seen it somewhere.
Some guy named Luxy or whatever on Twitter.
Yeah, I've
like,
probably seen something.
So I don't know if that's who she's referring to because she doesn't say here, but you know, and she also there's a lot of stuff that she claims that there's no like there's not necessarily any proof for. Now there is some stuff in the exhibits, but again, that it's not really concrete proof. It's stuff we've already seen publicly shared. So, let me see. So it says a correct and correct, a true and correct copy of excerpts of the Twitter thread responding to Dear ZeRo wanting all I wanted was an apology. Tweets are attached here too as Exhibit E. I also continue to be the target. Oh, go ahead.
Why does that matter? Oh my God. Like, I could kind of understand everything else, but the Twitter thread responding to it of like the harassment she got, why is that evidence in this? Why does that matter?
Well, again, it's just to me, it just seems like she's just trying to it's to garner sympathy, I think, from the court.
But
and
like, why? Never mind. I just don't.
I mean, I don't know.
I just can't.
I can only assume. I can only assume it's because of that. I can only assume that it's because of that. I also continue to be the target of harassing and angry messages and posts from ZeRo's fans. None of which he ever like sent her way, right? Because it's not like he has control over that. And I don't think he ever made any statements publicly to be like, "Hey, go tell Jisu she's a fucking liar," you know. So, in addition to Katie, I was contacted by other people who had similar experiences with ZeRo, but had not felt comfortable speaking out until I posted. I think she meant to say my tweet about him. One of ZeRo's victims contacted me and said that back in 2013, she and ZeRo had conversations on Skype where he told her that he could come visit her and take her to a hotel room, that he could fly her over to a gaming event and led to her masturbating with ice cubes at his request. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, franchise. Maybe you remember this, but I seem to remember that this story of this person came out after Katie's twit longer.
Yeah, the story. Yeah, it was the
Laura person or whatever, the person that identifies as Laura. That honestly, you know, she says that
another anonymous person.
Yes, another anonymous person who is cut and pasting something that was already put in somebody else's story.
Yeah.
Right. Which is easy to do. And I think that her story, I believe, was thoroughly debunked already too.
Yeah.
By technicals. This victim,
the screenshot where she was like, the messages still exist. And yeah.
The victim was especially shaken after reading ZeRo had made the same request to masturbate with ice cubes to Katie. So again, you know, for all we know, she saw what Katie was saying is like, and just is cut and pasting her story. All of these stories were so upsetting for me because of making it about herself, of what I myself went through with Warner.
Because this is the perfect legal defense for you. Other people somehow.
Yep, with Warner.
Somehow other people getting threats and stuff somehow like defends yourself from the. I can't.
Yeah. No, I hear you, bro. This is ridiculous because it's like
we're only on page 8.
Yeah, no, we're almost done with the first half of this declaration.
Right.
Yeah, we're about a little bit more than halfway through, I think. See, with Warner, ZeRo, and others at the Sky House. While I was living at the Sky House, I was also aware that ZeRo was quote unquote dating someone named Vanessa. Almost immediately, I learned that Vanessa was in fact a minor, while ZeRo was an adult at the time. While Vanessa and I never interacted personally after I escaped. I like how she words this. I continue to hear updates from my former roommates who continue to live at the Sky House and lived with ZeRo and Vanessa while they were there. I like how she words it as like she escaped, because I imagine her like jumping out the window or something in one of those, you know, like when people tie the bed sheets together, you know, and climb out of like second story windows.
I think what happened was like she and Vidjo just left the house.
Yeah, that's what, he's just like, I escaped. Like, who was keeping her there against her will? That she needed to escape. Will do, Devin. Thank you. Thank you for the 5, by the way. Let me get back. Sorry, man. Okay, so let me go back to this here. Let me zero while they were there. Okay. I learned that. Okay. While Vanessa and I never interacted personally after I escaped, I continue to hear updates from former roommates who continue to live at the Sky House and lived with ZeRo and Vanessa while they were there. These people would remark on how everyone in the house disapproved of the age difference between the two, and they would talk about how ZeRo would push her, and they would hear sounds like Vanessa was being beat from outside the bathroom. Some of these people would message me privately, but once I made the public statement against ZeRo, other people who lived in the house or stayed there would send me their accounts of what they observed about ZeRo and Vanessa. Screenshots of these conversations have been included in the original The Truth About ZeRo, Katie, and Sky. I didn't make up the statements about ZeRo and Vanessa.
But so let me. One of those screenshots literally starts with Jisu asking someone. So it's not like they sent her the stuff. She asked for it, like deliberately.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just, bro, this is wild to me, man. Like the shit that, oh man, again, you know, she didn't make up the lie. She didn't make up the lie.
Oh,
she's
yeah,
just repeating what was told to her, you know?
So this part, she's literally, so she went through all that fluff just to admit that she lied about something.
Well, just to say that, well, she's trying to say that she didn't make it, that it's not coming from her. She didn't make it up. She just spread what she was told. Is essentially what she's saying. It's not my lie. It's not my lie. It's somebody else's
liability, basically.
Yeah. All I did was repeat what I heard. I was told that they had an inappropriate age gap and that she was being physically abused in their relationship. And these accounts rang true to me because of what I myself had experienced while living in the Sky House with him. So here's the thing, right? I don't know how all that could ring true to you, right? If ZeRo never acted violently towards you, why would you believe that he beat the shit out of her?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I guess because of the fact that he quote unquote showed you stuff that was inappropriate to be shown to you because of someone that was your age, that somehow equates to him being also physically abusive to someone. I mean, maybe, I guess. I mean, but that's, you know, you never stated that ZeRo got violent towards you, only that he was mean towards you. Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
So let me see. It says here a true copy of the original unedited version of this document that I posted with support for my statements about ZeRo and Vanessa, which I later redacted to remove references to Vanessa at her request, is attached here to Exhibit F. So here we go.
One thing that I should mention, she first made these allegations on July 3rd.
Yes.
And those tweets are still up.
You know what's crazy is how quickly, right? How quickly she compiled this document. It's very interesting to me, right? Because I think, when was it that she said, hold on, let me go back up in the document real quick for a second here. We're on page 9 right now, but let me go up real quick, because she mentioned, right? All right. So that's when she announced taking the break from social media. Let me see. Here we go. On July 2nd, 2020, I posted another statement on Twitter further discussing Warner's abuse, right? So she talks about how on July 2nd, she posted again about Vidjo, right? Mm-hmm. And presumably, this, right, which I think this tweet still exists. Let me see if I could find it. Let me see when this tweet was posted, because I would assume it was around the 2nd or close to, right?
It was either the 2nd, but Katie's story she got on the 3rd.
Which is crazy, because that document,
came
the
out
document itself. No. Here's the crazy thing about the document might have come out later, but you know when the document was made on the 3rd. So they got right to work.
Yeah.
On making that document, like the very next day.
Yeah, like it was posted the 5th, but it was like Katie's story was the 3rd, came out the 3rd.
Yeah.
So like between the third, basically between either the second or the third and the fifth, she just wrote up an entire document.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they got right to work. I thought that was interesting.
And that also includes the stuff about Sky. So that's
Yes.
so much.
Yeah, it's like she went overtime, man. To get right to work on something like that. It's interesting. I don't know. Almost like I don't know. Seems a little premeditated. Let me see. Here we go. Yeah, see, she says right here, yeah, on July 5th, I posted a lengthy Google document that included further evidence of my claims and evidence that Katie and other victims gave me to post on their behalf. The statement can be read, and then she links where it can be read at the request of those involved. I later edited the document to either add onto stories that corroborated certain details or remove the names of people who did not want to be involved. Vanessa in particular asked to be left alone, and I apologized to her and edited out that portion of the document that discussed Vanessa and ZeRo. A true, correct copy of my July 5th, 2020 statement as edited and currently available online is attached here too as Exhibit G. A true, correct copy of my tweets responding to Vanessa's request and noting that the document was edited to respect her wishes is attached here too as Exhibit H. On July 4th, 2020, ZeRo posted a statement titled, "I have to come clean." In the post, ZeRo stated, "I also want people to stop defending me. I don't deserve it." Katie, we already know about this, right? The screenshot you guys were warning about, the Ice Cube thing is true. The claims that Katie makes are true in general. I'm working right now to obviously lose my sponsorships or any type of thing like that. I'm obviously not making more videos in general as well. As of the date of this declaration, the statement remains online. A true and correct copy of the full statement is attached here too as Exhibit I. In the same Twitter thread in which he posted his statement, ZeRo also stated, "I want to mention that I'll also be permanently banning myself from Smash Bros. Events in any capacity. I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. I don't deserve to be there ever again after all this." I later found that ZeRo deleted his tweets, but my friend, which we won't say that person's name, and I'll probably have to blur that out later, sent me screenshots that he had taken on his cell phone, and they are screenshots of the same statements. And I remember reviewing before ZeRo deleted them, a true and correct copy of screenshots of ZeRo's now deleted Twitter. There is attached here too as Exhibit J. After ZeRo posted his confession, Temple Storm released him. Facebook. Now we know, at least according to ZeRo, that this is actually not true, right? What she says here. After ZeRo posted his confession, Tempo Storm released him. Facebook Gaming terminated his contract, and Twitch banned his streaming channel. I believe that because of the accusations against him, and I'm sure, or at least I guess we'll see in the filings, right, that ZeRo will provide proof of that he actually got released prior to his confession. That they essentially were like, "Hey, we gotta terminate our dealings with you because of these accusations." So
this is just a false statement.
Yeah, she's saying that basically all this stuff happened after he posted his confession, which ZeRo, I believe, refuted in his initial filing, which I assume at some point he'll also provide proof of that in his filings. Either screenshots or of messages he received from them or emails he received from them. These consequences did not occur until after ZeRo himself confessed to his misconduct. See, this is a problem, I think, right? Is her lawyers putting this or letting her put this in her declaration, because obviously they're declaring it, they're making a declarative statement as as like a fact. And the thing is, if he has,
because like in this kind of stuff, you have to prove like liability and damages, and I guess her way of doing that is like, well, don't shoot the messenger, like I just heard this stuff from other people, so that's kind of like her way of like saying she's not liable. And I guess this is saying like, my statements weren't the cause of the damages.
Yeah, essentially that's what she's trying to say. But the interesting thing is, there's like, she's trying to say that all this occurred after he confessed. But yeah, the thing is, ZeRo
both fail. So
yeah, so that's the thing. Like this being in this right here, it's gonna it's going to come back, man. If he has the evidence to prove otherwise, which he claims to. So we'll have to wait on those filings, though. On November 16th, 2021, a YouTube streamer called Technicals.
YouTube streamer.
He's a streamer.
That.
That's wrong. I mean, he's a content creator. He does stream, but he's more, I mean, so that's technically half right. Technicals posted accusing me of lying and welcoming ZeRo back. On the same day, ZeRo also posted a YouTube video in which he claimed that my statements were full of lies and directing viewers to watch Technicals' video. ZeRo also claimed that his previous...
In her own document, she directed people to watch Technicals' video.
Yeah. So ZeRo also claimed that his previous confession was a suicide note that he posted out of desperation in an attempt to, quote-unquote, sabotage himself on purpose. He explained that he has retained legal counsel and involved in a lawsuit. ZeRo also disclaimed ever having any sexual interactions with minors. ZeRo's YouTube video is available at the following link. Technicals video is available at the following link. I'm sure Technicals appreciates the shout out, Jisu. Thank you.
Yo, thanks. She plugged it again. She just plugged Technicals.
Yeah, she did. It's
in a court of law.
Yep, she plugged it in a legal filing. Oh, real quick before we continue with this, Devend actually sent me the thing from Jisu's friend. We'll go over that real quick.
Okay.
The person that claimed to be Jisu's friend. Okay, so this is a message to the community from Katie's best friend. Preface: I'd like to preface with the fact that while the community is united, there's always an amount of awareness you gain within the community as you progress from being a spectator to participant, or to famous player or TO, to famous player or TO, etc. You naturally gain a new perspective with how people in this community conduct themselves. I hope this can be turned into a discussion as well. I'm also willing to answer any questions you might have on the matter. Context to my perspective. A giant portion of my time with Smash was as a spectator, looking up to and cheering for top players who now have been outed as dangerous to the community. ZeRo was my favorite player growing up, and I would always cheer for him in Twitch chat, tell my friends and family about him, etc. Seeing what he did to Katie is so disgusting. Knowing that one of my best friends from as far back as early as 2014 was being taken advantage of by my biggest Smash inspiration is so sickening. I guess I meant to say so much to believe ZeRo was genuinely apologetic after Jisu had come out with her first tweet. However, when Katie had come out with her statements and when I realized that she was my friend, everything was inevitable. It was a very anxious waiting game for me when we would finally, when he would finally come clean. While it took 3 twit longers, he finally gave her the closure she deserved. So here we have, all right, so there's a person here posting this, right? Whoever this person is, I don't know, posted by Paultina with Semi Luxy. I don't know if that's the same Luxy who said, that they were also friends with Katie. I think this is a different person though. And this is just somebody that is claiming to be her best friend. So the perspective I gained from knowing that everything was true is something I'd like to discuss, combined with the perspective of being a TO and knowing the general community. I'd like to address and talk about the community's less than stellar reaction after ZeRo had come clean. I noticed a lot of toxicity also came from a lot of newcomers on the scene, a player base I empathize with a lot. Given my earlier context, I know many of community figures have already said this, but I want to echo this statement. Top players / content creators are not your best friend. You are a number to them until you develop a greater relationship with them, which more than likely won't happen. It's a good thing to have an inspiration, but please realize that you don't know them personally. You do not need to throw out your moral compass to go and defend them, as well as these celebrities are not anime propaganda protagonists who are just in a rough spot or some Persona 5 villain that needs a change of heart. They are real people who hurt real people. And in ZeRo's case, he is someone who tried to spin the story to victimize himself. So here's the thing. Like, this person obviously is, again, I don't know if they're going to provide anything to back up the claim that they actually know her right? We're expected, I guess, to just take this person's word for it. Jisu coming out with more statements after the recent 64-page document. Oh, wait, my bad. I skipped this one. I value and respect the idea of innocent before guilty, but that does not mean automatically dismiss the accusations brought up by the other party. So many times have I seen people defend ZeRo claiming fake screenshots or me being accused of collaborating or collaborate. Why is he saying collaborating?
Collaborating. Collaborating with Jisu.
Collaborating with Jisu to I had a brain fart there. Collaborating with Jisu to fabricate Katie and take down ZeRo. What? I mean, who is this person? Okay. There were so many people also praising ZeRo's first response, completely ignoring the fact that not remembering is not a valid defense, especially when he failed to acknowledge any severity in the claims brought up against him. He also refused to acknowledge the ice story Katie mentioned in her second twin logger, and so many people saw that as him not talking about it because it didn't happen. Jisu coming out with more statements after the recent 64-page document is a good thing. This is generally accepted by older people of the community. The younger members who look up to ZeRo are rightfully concerned about ZeRo's well-being. The reason why is a good thing is because it further pushes ZeRo away from the community, as well as D1, as Jisu mentions, having more to say about accepting a predator back into the community is not the move at all. No questions asked. This leads to point 4. There's no way to know if ZeRo has changed since then. Yes, he did interact with her 6 years ago, and he could have changed. I think Maximilian Dude addressed this flawlessly on his reaction video to the Evo FGC state. Until they're held accountable, it's hard to imagine someone changing, until you're directly in the line of responsibility for a situation. Like, you don't know what people are still doing for however much time. Final thoughts, plus clearing confusion. While Katie and I haven't been in direct conversation with each other since about early 2018. Okay, so why the fuck are you speaking up, right?
I mean, he knew her at the time, so there's
so that. I guess just because of that, see this to me, this is a problem. Okay, you haven't spoken to her since 2018, but yet for sure she's got to be telling the truth. I wanted to make it clear that Katie. I wanted to make it clear to Katie with my initial thread that I was still there with her, believed in her, and would do anything to support her. Back then, Katie was always one to actively seek out others to help out, and to talk to them through whatever tough time they were going through, as much as a 14-year-old girl could have helped others out with. In my account history, there's a post I have on our amiibo talking about how I named my Paulina amiibo. The situation I talk about in there is a time when Katie instantly knew I would need support and was there for me immediately when I would text her. She's an absolute blessing. I'm proud of her for finding the strength to come out, and so thankful for her and her family and Jisu for giving her a chance to come to terms with everything. I'm really glad a lot of top players and figures have condemned ZeRo for his actions and have now made it clear that they do not want him back. Previously stated before, looking at his twit longers from the perspective of someone personally involved in everything made every lie so blatant. While his own story of abuse is tragic, there was no need to add that on to an apology meant for others. It worked.
That reminds me of another document that we're about to read after this.
Yeah. It worked to not only get people to feel sympathetic for him, but also to distract those from the fact that he coincidentally left out one of the most damning accusations from Katie's twitlonger. Sad to say that it worked for a majority of his fan base, pushing them to defend ZeRo even more. You know what I find interesting about this person? They say they weren't in direct contact with Katie since 2018, but I don't see anything so far, and maybe I missed it, where she specifies the fact that she knew about this back then. She's kind of generalizing.
Yeah.
I don't see anything where she's saying, like, she told me about this back then. She's saying that she's proud of her for finally coming forward about it, but that doesn't tell me that this is something that this person knew about for somebody claiming to be like her best friend or one of her best friends. I mean, maybe she addresses it later. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. I'm really good at for twit longers from perspective. Okay. Also ZeRo totally knew that she was underage. See here for an explanation on that. That also doesn't excuse the fact that he still messaged her for at least 3 more months. See, it's interesting, right? they talk about those communications happening for 3 months. But what I saw, and I don't think me and you have ever spoken about this franchise, but I don't know if you noticed, but what's interesting about when those messages are being shown, the ones that were linked by Katie and the Twit Longer, if you look at the timestamps of when those messages were when they were basically screenshotted, you see that she went back to screenshot messages from September.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing because she screenshots them when she screenshots a couple of them from when they happened, right? And then in December of that year, she goes back and screenshots messages just from September. But yet there's supposed to be this time frame of September until January of the next year where they spoke. But she saw the need to, in December, go back specifically to the month of September and only screenshot those messages. But then says, oh, I didn't screenshot the rest because, whatever, they were too much. But you took meticulous effort in December to go back to September and screenshot those more messages from that month. So I would think, like, look, and again, if you consider the fact that her reasons for why she posted those messages have changed a couple times, or why she saved those messages, to me, I feel like, all right, you had all this time frame of stuff that could have been way more damning, right?
Yeah.
Towards the end of when you're, essentially towards the end of when you're talking with them in December, right? You don't think to go back and screenshot those other messages after one of your reasons for having those, or for initially, putting them out one day would be to defend yourself. Defend yourself against what? Yeah. So it's just weird. Like her whole account, this Katie girl's account. So let me get through this real quick, and then we'll go back to the document and finish it up. Also, ZeRo, totally okay. Thank you for reading. If you've made it this far, if you read this, thank you all for listening. Obviously, the situation is very close and dear to my heart. As a community leader for my own scene, I felt that it's important to branch out to the nationwide community to talk about this issue. So yeah, it's just saying if anybody wants to talk, and saying she won't, grant. I'm also happy to answer your questions. Granted, the answer won't reveal too much about Katie's personal life. Big shout outs to the mods. So that's it. So again, I don't know if there's any legitimacy to this. I find it interesting that this is a person speaking, saying that they're one of Katie's best friends, haven't talked to her in 2 years, and also doesn't specify that they knew about this from back when it happened. At least none that I could see. Like I said, maybe I missed something. I'll read it again later just to see. So I could be wrong, but I didn't see anything in her, Reddit post there that said that she knew about it from back then. So for somebody that was one of her best friends, and Katie saying that she confided in her closest friends about it, you would think that this person would have said, she told me back then, and she told me how much it bothered her and blah, 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 this, that, or the other. Or at least told her sometime before they stopped talking, right? But apparently that never came up. So we'll get through a little bit more of this, and then, like I said, we'll call it night because I'll probably do a part 2 of this.
All right.
We'll go through a little bit more here, though. It's been turning me insane witnessing the mental gymnastics people will use to attack me. Oh, wow. Funny coming from her, right? They call me things like whore, slut, thought, e-girl, and ugly when my entire career is based off my art. I barely post photos of myself, and my career is based on my art and not my appearance. Before what? So?
Funny thing is, she doesn't address anything in those videos.
Yes. Before
that
this,
she talked about.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh well, I've been harassed, so like, yeah.
I've been called mean things online.
The funny thing is, those videos like present evidence, so linking them is like just digging her own grave.
Yes. Oh my God. That's what I'm saying. Like before this, I was known as a pillar within the community for being an honest, hardworking girl. Really? I never heard of you. I mean, maybe on the California scene, maybe within her community there. I never heard of her though. It's only because I
I
took their
love my
favorite.
$1,000 GameCube controllers.
Oh man, look at this. It's only because I took their favorite celebrity down that I'm now a whore. My reputation within the scene has been tarnished to where a good part of the public sees me as a master manipulator and liar who gets off on ruining people's lives.
Yes.
Well, I mean, shit, you've already
mean-
perpetuated lies about people that have.
You've already admitted to that.
That
In this
have
exact same document.
Yes, that have essentially ruined people's lives, right? But it still hurts me deeply every day knowing I did nothing wrong. But seeing everyone will say such hateful things, I will still continue to receive hate. Like however you feel about ZeRo, shouldn't take away from the fact that Jisu is a lying sack of scum. A true and correct I guess
Bro,
you meant
why
to
is
say
the harassment evidence, but not the evidence debunking the video?
I don't know. See, that's the weird thing about this, right? It's just to me, her whole declaration just seems to me of her essentially just saying, "Oh, woe is me! Look at all the shit that I've had to put up with because of the defamation that I put out there." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The potential, because we don't know, allegedly, right? We don't know for sure. Maybe it's possible. It's possible, she could be, the things that she's put out there could be true, but so far, her track record's not looking good. So, especially, with Vanessa, right? That's the best example. But then again, she didn't make that up. She just spread it.
Yeah.
She's not responsible.
When was this document submitted?
This was filed. Hold on. I could find out right now. Let me see. This was filed on. So her declaration was filed on the 24th of January this year.
Ah, man.
Yep.
See, I wish it was after my video so she could have plugged that too.
Yeah. Could have gotten could have put you on on national blast here. So I've stunned how long this harassment and hate against me has been dragging on. It's been over a year since the original Google Doc was posted. Again, woe is me. And somehow the internet keeps digging it back up every day. I have to block multiple accounts. They just keep spreading unjustified hate. I'm still in shock that the internet defends someone who literally admitted to their wrongdoing, and all of my large internet star friends agree as well.
They're all stupid.
Yes. Well, the thing is, what the fuck does that matter?
Why does that matter?
Yeah, that doesn't mean shit.
I'm right, and they agree. Okay, well, yeah. I have evidence.
Yeah, that's not gonna mean shit in a court of law. Again, there's a saying, right, that goes, it's not about what you know. I like to say it's not about what you know or you think you know, but about what you can prove, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It doesn't matter if your friends agree with you. That's not going to mean shit in a court of law if you don't have anything to back that shit up.
Said he wouldn't watch Tech's video, so I must be right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've heard of that guy. Yeah, the guy who will always say stuff, but never watches the videos or whatever.
Yeah, and hugs.
Oh God,
bro, man, I hope that in whatever settlement, she has to pay for legal fees, so that I could just be like, Hugs, why are you supporting ZeRo? You just donated $1,250 to him. Can't believe it.
Put that shit, dude. Yeah. Look at this. None of us have ever seen hate this sustained towards anyone, especially not towards someone who legitimately did the right thing. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
God.
Never seen. She's the biggest victim online, y'all. She's the biggest victim online.
She did the right thing. She spread the lie against it. This is in the same document as her admitting to spreading a false allegation.
Dude, it is ludicrous for her to even say something like this. Right? Because when you have actual celebrities, right? like Amber Heard, who looks like she's full of shit, right? From all accounts that's out there. So you're telling me that you're getting more hate than fucking Amber Heard is right now? And not that I'm defending Amber Heard at all. You know what I'm saying? I think that and I hope Johnny wins his case, right? But you're telling me that you're getting more hate than fucking Amber Heard right now? Like, for real?
Jesus Christ. Like, oh my God.
Bro, look at this
Like,
next part. It's
I'm not-
truly a testament
okay,
to the
go.
misogyny within the gaming and the idolization of horrible people because they happen to be good at a video game. What?
Leffen. Just Leffen. One of your internet star friends? Yeah, that's him.
Oh my goodness, dude. What? I think you meant to say gaming community. But you just put within gaming. Well, misogyny within gaming. I mean, I guess you just doesn't mean just general. I guess just not.
Like,
I guess maybe the industry in general is what she means.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. She seems like an actual sociopath. Like, the fact that she could say all this and still think that she's like in the right and did nothing wrong,
Dude,
bro. That's scary. That's so scary, dude.
She's on another level, dude. This is crazy. I try to avoid talking about this, and this is the end, and we'll wrap it up after this because there's more to go through. But like I said, I'll do that on another stream. I try to avoid talking about this whole disaster online, and I might even appear aloof to it. But the reality is that I'm not. I can barely log in anymore. Social media brings me anxiety now. And what was once something fun and also my job is now such an anxiety-inducing monster. I can barely post tweets or interact with others without the fear of haters coming and swarming. I've also grown to fear for my physical well-being and have had to start thinking about precautions and security in case someone were to attempt to hurt me in person at an event. Most of all, I'm just sad they won't let go. They won't let me go. I've worked so hard my entire life to achieve my dreams, and no matter how hard I try, they always drag me back down, like attempting to take my art prize away or spamming hate mail about me to my fans and new business connections. My career is flying, but not without these haters latching on. I'm tired. Everyone is tired, and it's time to let the hate go. I've worked all my life to be an honest person and to focus on my work. I've stuck by this since day one and continue to stick by it to this day. Since the hate, I've stuck by this even more and do nothing but post my art and go the opposite of attention seeking. Yet they accuse me of those things anyways. I've tried every single possible thing to move on from this without stirring the pot. I'm exhausted and at a loss as to what I can do to escape the vitriol. I declare under penalty of perjury under the laws of the state of California that the foregoing is true and correct. And this is the end of her declaration. And this is where we'll wrap it up here for tonight. But dude, that does read like a fucking like what you would put in a fucking twit longer.
I want to go to sleep.
Yeah. That's her basically just virtue signaling about this entire shit, you know? So that's what we have so far. I'll go into the rest later because there's a lot of it is really fluff. You know, we'll do a wrap up stream on it. I'll probably try to do it either tomorrow or the next day. Fran, you're welcome to join me for that if you want, man.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the initial part of her filing there. It's you know, I think there's some problems there. There's quite a bit of problems I think in her filing, you know, in my opinion. But, you know, hey, I'm not an attorney, but I think that there's some stuff in there that she's going to have problems with, especially considering that she's saying that he lost all those sponsorship deals and all that stuff after he confessed, because that's not something that they know for a fact. Her and her lawyers don't know that for a fact. And honestly, upon discovery, you know what I mean? They'll probably get the truth of that. But they're declaring it almost as, you know, well, they're making a declaration of it, a declarative statement about it. So I think that's going to be an issue for her, on top of the fact that she's kind of not taking any kind of responsibility for spreading what is really, you know, what is known to be lies, right? Especially regarding Vanessa and just saying, her just trying to back out of it by saying, hey, I didn't make up that lie. I just spread it, which that's not how that works. You could, if you spread defamation, if you spread lies, you'll be culpable as well. You can't just be like, I didn't make it up, so it's not my fault. Those are not my statements. It's like that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter in a fucking court of law.
Bro,
You're perpetuating the lie. So
did she really plug Tech's video?
yes, she did. She plugged Tech's video and she plugged ZeRo's video. And yes, I know what the word collaborating is. I had a brain fart. Just to clear up for anybody. Yeah, she really did plug Tech's video and she plugged ZeRo's video.
Like, imagine if they like played it in court and they're like, "Oh, you're a dumbass."
Yeah, so there's gonna be what's called a case management conference in May, which they'll determine from there. They'll go before the judge, I believe, or they'll get together. They don't necessarily have to go before a judge, but I believe they'll go to the lawyers will essentially go to the courthouse and figure out where to go from there. At that time, it is possible that they could end up, deciding on mediation. It's not uncommon for that to happen, from my understanding, at CMCs, but really it'll just be kind of to really plan where they're going to go from there. I think that it would be probably in her best interest if she wants to die on that hill, which I don't know if you agree with me on this or not, Fran, but I think given the way that filing went, I think she's the type of person that would absolutely die on that hill. You know what I mean? Just for the social brownie points, which I honestly, I don't think that would benefit her, because
you don't.
Yeah. 12,000. She's only like raised like a little over $12,000 on her GoFundMe. That's not going to be enough if this were to go to trial. She might not. I don't know if it'll even be enough to go as far as the deposition. Maybe it could be, but I don't even know that it'll go that far. It'll be enough to cover depositions and shit like that. So I guess it just depends on her attorney's rate and whether or not they're going to be, charitable towards her. But she might have to pay out of pocket if she decides to go all the way, unless somebody feels super generous.
Yeah.
So
hugs.
Yeah. But that's where we'll leave it at. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Devin. Thank you for linking that earlier. And thank you for GG. Thank you to Gigi Evans. You all are the stream daddy and the stream mommy. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much, Franchise, for joining me, buddy. We'll have you on the next one. But and thank you to Aura for also being here. The rest of you, thank you so very much. I'll catch you all on the next one. You all have a fantastic night.